gear list videos keep coming. This time I'm going to be going over, I'd call a mid-season elk hunt. It's going to be that first week of October. Trail and I are going to go to Montana for about 10 days. So a little bit later, post-rut. So I do expect the temperatures to be cooler, especially up in Montana. We could get snow. Hopefully we have some decent weather, but it's kind of a different style hunt, a little different than what we're used to of going in the rut earlier September, where we've done that hunt a lot and we kind of know what to bring. So I just wanted to do a gear list of what I'm going to bring on that type of hunt. For the most part, it's pretty similar to most of my backcountry hunts. I've added a few things here and there, trying to lighten things down a little bit. Plus I got some different camo I'm running this year, some different boots, but we're just going to jump in, go over my elk gear list for this October hunt that Trail are going to be doing in Montana. So first of all, we're going to start off with goHUNT clothes. So no longer am I running First Light, I'm going to be running goHUNT this year. My brother works there, so I thought I'll help support him. Plus goHUNT makes great stuff. I've started off wearing their stuff when I was actually living in Iowa. I wore goHUNT stuff before even coming out west. And so I'm back to goHUNT. So first off, insulation. So October, Montana, you're gonna have various temperatures, various weather. So I decided for my top jacket, I'm gonna go with a heavier, more insulated jacket. So I got the goHUNT Pro down for the jacket. And then down pants, I bring down pants no matter what hunt it is. Usually always bring down pants. It's one of those things you don't know you like them until you try them, and once you do, you're gonna absolutely love them. So these are the Ultra down pants, super down, the lighter ones from goHUNT. I wore these up in Alaska. It was pretty cold up there. Never had any problems with getting cold with these. And I thought I'd save a little bit of weight, not bringing both just the Pro where it's a little bit heavier. So I went with the Ultra for my down pants, and then I went with the Pro for the top. And kind of my layering system that I'll be wearing most of the time throughout this hunt, since I do expect temperatures to be a little bit colder than what I'm used to on a archery elk hunt, I went with the Peloton 97 for my base layer. It's a little bit warmer than the 118, so I'm going to wear that for most of the time. And then over the top of that, if it gets a little bit cooler, I'll probably throw on the Peloton 200, which is an awesome piece. This is probably one of my favorite pieces from goHUNT, the Peloton 200. It's a very versatile piece. I wear this most of the time throughout the day. And then if it gets wet, I just throw on a rain jacket. And if it gets cold, throw on my down. But I try not to keep it too complicated. I think there's one area that you could probably limit for most backcountry hunters who don't have a ton of experience. I would say it's your clothing. You get better clothing, you can bring less of it. I feel sometimes a lot of people are bringing way too much clothing, and I've done it before, and then you realize real quick when you're out there, like, wow, why the hell do I have all these clothes? So quality clothing, and then you can bring less of it. That's my motto. And then with that, just another insulation piece from goHUNT. This is the vest, the Kenai, right? So just another insulation piece that I like is a vest. This is the Kenai from goHUNT. And what I was really surprised about wearing this is I like it because you can be active in it. So this is a great piece if you're gonna do a lot of hiking and not get too hot, because I run hot most of the time and I'm pretty sweaty when I'm out there hunting. And I was super impressed with this jacket on how well it breathed when I was hiking. So I'm gonna keep bringing it with my hunts. Plus I always like keeping my core warm. Most of the time my arms aren't too cold. It's usually if my core is warm, then the rest of my body's warm. So I always like to have a vest with me. And I was super impressed with that when I was active and hiking, how it kind of kept me regulated and I wasn't getting too hot with that layering piece. So that's kind of like my layers that I'll wear most of the time depending on the temperature. And then if it starts raining, I got the Chugach TR from goHUNT. I got the pants, I got the jacket. Took that up to Alaska too, and it rained every single day, and I tell you right now, it works. I've had a lot of different rain gear in the past. It can be a hit or miss, but most of the time with rain gear, you pay what you get for. So with that, love that stuff up in Alaska, and I'm gonna keep running it. And then for the pants, just the all-around goHUNT attack pants. I've actually worn these back when I was in Iowa. They're great pants. Side zips. I mean, they're tough to beat all around, pretty much any type of terrain, weather. They're just going to be a good go-to pants, so I'm just going to take those with me. And then a lot of the times for sleeping. I don't really bring long johns. I tend to run hunt, like I said, so you know, if I'm getting cold, throw on my down pants. So that's usually why I don't bring long johns, because I never wear them. Usually if I start hiking, I'm sweating instantly with those on. So I usually just run the attack pants, and then the underwear I run is usually the Sax underwear that we carry here in the gear shop. And then going into gaiters, so I'm trying out some new gaiters this year. I've already been running through these ones. These are the Stone Glacier SQ2 Alpine gaiters. Super durable, really versatile. You've got the different sizing, so if you do have smaller legs around the calf, you can pull them in a little bit tighter so they don't slide down. And that was the one thing I was super impressed with these gaiters, is they hardly ever slide down your leg. With a lot of the gaiters, you always seem to be cinching them up around your calf. These never seem to slide down, and I have pretty skinny legs. So I was really impressed with these, really durable. It's gonna be October hunt, so I'm gonna want some pretty burly, durable gaiters to be running around in the mountains with. So those will be the gaiters I'll take on this hunt, and probably on most of my hunts this year. I've liked them so far. And then always gotta have a belt. It's just a KUIU belt, nothing too crazy. Not a big suspender guy, don't like those things. As much as Brady says he likes them, not a fan of suspenders. And then mittens. So as most of you probably know, and I've said in a lot of my gear list videos, I don't wear gloves. I think they're dumb. But I put gloves on, my hands are still cold, so why the hell would I wear them? Plus, for the most part, especially archery hunting, I like bare hand on the bow, so I usually won't have any gloves or anything, but I do like mittens, because if my hands are cold, I want something to warm them up, so mittens is what I go to. And kind of like my go-to around camp are just these mittens I bought off Amazon. They're Heat Factory mittens, wool mittens, and what I like most about them is they're cut too, so your fingers are out, so you can do a lot of versatile things with them around camp, cooking, doing stuff, and then if you do get a little cold, you can throw them over glassing. So these are what I wear most of the time, and they seem to work great, and they're pretty cheap. Amazon. They're actually two different ones. I lost one, but they work. And then if it does get really cold, like I said, it's October in Montana, you definitely could get snow. I have the Sitka Blizzard mittens, and these so far have been some of the best mittens I've worn. I've worn a lot of different mittens, and what I like most about this is, so it's got a Gore-Tex lining, so they're waterproof, and then to dry them out, you can just pull them right out, dry out real fast. Gore-Tex, and if you did want to run them without the Gore-Tex, you can just run them like this if you want to go a little lighter option. But yeah, these mittens have seen a lot of cold temperatures, and my hands have never gotten cold. And the one thing with mittens and any clothing piece that you're always worried about is getting wet, right? Like having stuff wet is the death of you out in the backcountry. So having this added protection with the Gore-Tex lining is huge, and something that I really appreciate with these Sitka Blizzard mittens. And then the boots I'm wearing this year, so I'm switching it up. In the past, I've been a guy who haven't been a big fan of stiff boots. My biggest thing about stiff boots is they tend to be heavier, and I hate wearing weight on my feet. That really bugs me. But I found these. These are super light. This in our scale is a stiffness of 5, so they're super stiff and lightweight. So I thought I'd give them a try. These are the Mammoth Kento boots, and I have loved them so far. Awesome boot. I think they're around like 3 pounds, and they're super stiff. You know, the one thing about elk country you notice a lot is you're going in a lot of steep ditches and drainages, and having a little added stiffness to your boot is going to just help bring relief to your calves, your lower legs, your foot. So instead of your legs doing most of the work, you're hoping your boot does most of the work, and that's kind of my reason why I was trying to find a little bit stiffer boot, because Trail's in here. Say hi, Trail.
Hi, everybody.
What are you doing?
You were filming?
We're filming, bro. Do you not read the sign?
Sign on the door that said filming, do not enter.
Do not enter.
Oh, I thought that meant come in and say hey.
Come in and say hey.
Yeah.
And we're wearing the same hat.
Always the same hat.
It's the best hat. So those are the boots that I'll be running this year, the Mammoth Kento. So if you're looking for a lightweight, stiff boot, Mammoth Kento, I check them out. Highly recommend these boots. I love them so far. And I've never been a stiff boot fan. I've always been around medium flex but these seem to have really worked well for me. Then the sock. This is just your classic Darn Tough boot cushion sock. The 2011 Darn Tough boot cushion sock. Nothing too crazy. Never get blisters with these. Just my go-to sock that I wear all the time. And I usually bring 2 pairs of socks with me on a backcountry hunt. You know, some people will only bring 1 pair, especially in this later season hunt where we could see a lot more weather. I always like to have 2 pairs of socks with me so I know I have a dry pair and then I can dry out the other one as I'm wearing the other dry pair. So that's one thing I do bring 2 on. But underwear, I'll wear 1 pair of underwear for 10 days. I don't care. Write that down. All right, so that's kind of the clothing. Oh shit, I forgot my Crocs. Crocs. Gotta have them. I don't know if I'll bring these with me actually out in the backcountry, but I always wear Crocs when I go hunting, have them in the truck. As much as they are pretty light, I don't think I can bring them with me on a backcountry hunt. I don't want to carry them around. But I will have them with me in the truck, so when I come back, I can have some nice comfy shoes to slip into. So Crocs are always a good thing to go. Plus, if you're going to do some river crossings, you know, you can throw your Crocs on, leave them in the bank, come back and get them, that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of all the clothing that I'll be bringing on this elk hunt. Now we'll jump into my gear, all that good fun stuff. So we'll start with my sleep system. Sleep system's fairly simple. Been using this one for the last couple years. I have been switching up my sleeping pad here and there just because I've been popping a lot of holes in my sleeping pads lately. I was running the Big Agnes AXL, which is a great pad. It's probably the lightest pad that you can buy, but I had some issues with getting holes in it. I think that's just me and camping in some terrible areas. But I did switch it up to, this is the Thermarest NeoWear X-Lite. So this is a 4.2 R rating. So basically I can use this thing all year round from early season to late season, which is one thing that I like about this sleeping pad over other ones, is the R rating's a little bit higher, lightweight, packable. And what I've noticed with this sleeping pad is it doesn't seem to be as loud. Like, you know, you have a lot of the sleeping pads where you're rolling around, you can hear them crunching a lot. And that was always something that bugged me because I'd wake myself up. This one doesn't seem to be as loud. I don't know. Trail says his is loud, but Trail's is also a lot older than mine. This one's brand new. But that's one thing that I noticed about this sleeping pad that I've really liked. And then always bring a pillow. Big promoter of camping pillow. Look at this thing, it's tiny. If you're using your down clothes, just get a pillow, man. They're really nice. They add that extra benefit that I think is crucial on a backcountry hunt, which is sleep. You gotta sleep good, wake up the next day, refreshed, ready to go, keep your mind sharp. But this is the Climate extra large pillow. I mean, it's tiny, lightweight, super comfortable. Always bring that in all my backcountry hunts. And then my tent that I will be using on this hunt, the same tent that I've been using all my backcountry hunts the last couple years. This is the Sky Air ULT with the floor mesh insert, the bathtub floor in it, and then the tarp that goes over the top of that. And the reason that we're probably not going to do bivvies on this October hunt is we could expect, you know, a variety of weather from rain to snow. And I've been in a couple snowstorms with this setup and it's worked great for me. And then, like always with the Sky Air ULT, you need some trekking poles to get that thing hung up. So these are just the Lecky Legacy Ultralight. I'm not a huge trekking pole fan. I usually don't have them when I'm hiking around, but they are nice to have to set up my tent, and they are nice to have when you're packing out meat. I will say that, but other than that, I won't use them. Just to pack out meat, set up my tent. So that's kind of the sleep system that I'll be running. And then along with, I have some stakes. I have a wide variety of stakes in here, to be honest with you. I got some that came with the Stone Glacier tent. And then I have these mini groundhog MSR stakes. Then I have some Hilleberg like needle stakes. But I try to bring about 2 extra stakes that are needed for the tent setup, just in case one breaks, one bends, I lose one. So I usually keep it around what I need for the tent plus 2 extra stakes. So that's a sleep system. The Helinox chair. Depending on how far we are from camp, Most likely won't bring it, but it's something I always like to have in my truck at all times on any type of hunt that I'm going on. It's a nice thing to have when you get back to your truck. You want to take a seat, you know, it could be packing in some more stuff, packing out a bowl, you're going to go back in. It's nice to have something to sit down, organize stuff, go through stuff, relax. So I always like to bring the heel and ox chair with me. Probably won't put it in my pack when I go hunting, but it's something I always keep in my truck. So I thought I would mention it. All right, jumping into my water, filtration, my water bottles, what I bring for the hydration part. So what I've switched up is I have no pumps. Love hate with that. Sometimes you wish you had a pump, sometimes you don't. But on these mid to late season hunts, a lot of the times your pumps will freeze up. Colder temperatures won't work. So I usually rely on Aquamirror drops. They've been my go-to for a long time. Never had any problems. Water tastes fine, easy to use. Put it in a little mix pad, dump it into your water, you're good to go. So another thing that I've changed up from years prior is I'm bringing a SteriPen this year. This is the mini version, the smaller version of the SteriPen, so there's no batteries, which is another thing I'll get into as you'll go through my gear list more, that I'm trying to eliminate batteries as much as possible and have everything off the same charging cord, so I don't have to rely on batteries going out. I can just keep everything with one charging cord and charge through certain devices that I'll be talking about here soon. But yeah, this is just easy SteriPen. Dump it in your water, stir it around, ultraviolet UV light, kills all the germs and bacteria, and you're good to go. Super simple, fast, and most of the time when I'll do this is like if I'm filling up an Nalgene real quick, put this in there, stir it around so I don't have to do the Aquamirror drops and actually wait and drop them out. And then for like my water packs that I'll be bringing, this is the Platypus soft bottle. This is 1 liter, 34 ounce. A lot of times I like to have this just for a backup. If I'm at water, I want to try to get as much water as possible if I know there's not a lot of water in the area. It's a nice thing to have just for like your camp food, you know. Have a nice Platypus 1 liter water bottle to fill up. And then I will have a Nalgene usually with me as well. And then I like to have the old Big Zip Platypus 3 liter. Nothing too crazy. I mean, it could freeze up every once in a while, but I should have 2 other liters of water with my Nalgene in this soft bottle that I can have water that I know is not going to freeze up with this tube. We're usually run into issues in late season hunts is your tube will freeze up and you can't drink your water. But I don't think it's going to be that cold. Well, I hope it's not that cold. So that's kind of what I'll bring for my water, hydration stuff in my gear. Going into cooking system. So I have a pretty slick cooking system, super lightweight. I have just the classic Sea to Summit spork. Can't go wrong there. And then what I have for my cooking system is, this is the Seek Outside Bale Mug. And what I like about this is it's versatile. So you got this so you can hang it just in case you do need to put it over a fire. Also you can use it as a cup with the handles. And it's very lightweight, titanium. And then I usually just, for my stove, I've been running the Soto Windmaster. Fits right in there really nice, lightweight. So that was one area that I noticed that I could cut some weight on. I had the Jetboil before. And with this setup, you're running pretty light with this Windmaster. And what I like about this Windmaster is you can regulate it. So you can do a simmer, you can do a full-on boil, and it's got an igniter. So if you do lose your lighter, you have an igniter. I've never had any issues with it. Works perfectly every single time. And that's just another added benefit with this setup. And just the overall size and lightweight is something I really like about this. So that's kind of what I'll bring to cook all my meals. Nothing too crazy, lightweight, simple. And then I'll have an extra lighter with me too, just in case we need to start a fire or the igniter goes out on that Windmaster. But then obviously I'll have 1 canister of fuel. I don't have one yet, but should be good enough. Then kind of going into just kind of my miscellaneous gear that I keep in this Mr. Ranger Zoid bag. So my medical kit, I have just the ultralight watertight medical kit 5 from Adventure Kits. Sell that in the goHUNT gear shop. And then I kind of throw in some of my own stuff in here. So I'll throw in some extra moleskins. And then I usually have some Advil. This is PM, just in case I need some help sleeping, and then just regular Advil. And I usually like to have those, I'll take them quite a bit throughout the day, just to, if I know I've been doing some hard hikes, just to kind of get in front of that soreness so I'm not too sore the next day. So it's always good to have some Advil or ibuprofen on deck. Lens cloth, I always have camera gear with me, so it's always nice to have a lens cloth, clean some stuff. Chapstick, toothpaste, toothbrush, boom. You know what it is. And this is kind of my extra, just in case some shit happens. Got, what is this called? Carabiner. I've got a carabiner. I've got some electrical tape, some AAA batteries, an extra lighter, some extra chapstick, and I have this Allen wrench, which is for all of my optics. This one Allen wrench does them all. So that's kind of some extra goodies that I have just in case something happens and I need to dig in there. And then my headlamps. I always bring 2 headlamps. This is the Petzl Actic. This is the one I'll use the majority of the time. And then for my backup, I switched it up. I wanted something lightweight that's still fairly decent and doesn't take batteries, so I can just recharge this if this goes bad. And this is the Petzl Bindy. As you can see, very small, fairly bright. It's a backup. Hopefully I won't have to use it. And then I have the Petzl Actic. And then with the Petzl Actic, like I was talking about with trying to eliminate batteries, I actually put the recharge pack in this. So all of this stuff can be recharged through the various power sources that I'll bring with me. So I don't ever have to worry about bringing a bunch of extra batteries with me, which is something I'm trying to eliminate throughout that. And kind of on that same note on how I'm trying to eliminate batteries and have everything recharged with the same cord, since that I've added a solar panel. So I haven't ever brought a solar panel on any of my backcountry hunts, and now I've added one since I'm not bringing any batteries anymore. So this is the Nomad 5 from goZero. It's a great solar panel. You can hook up right from this USB in the back. If you have one of the flips, it'll hook right to that. I usually just have a cord that I can just plug in to either my headlamp, my power source. If I have a power bank, I can even plug it in here to charge that. So it's just a good added benefit to have out there to keep all my stuff charged if it is sunny. But if it isn't sunny, I have some power banks that I bring with me as well, just in case for backup. Because as you know, goHUNT maps, that's all I use. I don't have a GPS besides my goHUNT maps that I have on my phone that I'll use throughout the hunt to navigate. So I need something to keep stuff charged. So I usually have a solar panel and then a couple power banks to do that. So something new that I've added to my gear list this year is the goZero Crush Light. I used to make fun of this little guy, but now I'm a fan of it. I've used it, I took it out, I tried it. It's just a nice light to have around camp, just some added comfort. It's fairly bright. I think you could also use this thing as a bowl if you really wanted to. I haven't tried it out, but it might work. So with this goZero Crush Light, don't need any batteries, has a nice solar panel on top, has a nice little thing you can hang it inside your tent. Just some added comfort, lightweight. So I've been bringing it. Try it around your camp, it's kind of nice. You'll think it's kind of dumb, give it a try. Especially for truck camping, highly recommend this. So that's kind of my miscellaneous gear that I'll be bringing. Now we're gonna jump into my kill kit. Kill kit's fairly simple. It's been the same for the last couple years. I have added a different knife in there. I do bring this Outdoor Edge Razor Light EDC. The reason I like this is these blades are a lot thicker and more durable than your standard 60A blades that go in the Havlon. So they seem to last a little bit longer, never break, and they're replaceable. So I usually bring a couple of these with the Havlon. And I still do bring the Havilon. A lot of this just for like skinning, caping. It's a great knife to have, super sharp, lightweight. So those are the two knives that I'll bring. And then I'm also bringing the Outdoor Edge flip saw. So it's going to be an October hunt. I expect us to be making fires. So it's nice to have something to cut up some wood. Also with elk, big animals need to cut through some bone. It's nice to have one of these little flip saws, super lightweight. Just as something that I've added. Trail always has a saw with him because he's always skull capping everything. So I thought I'd copy Trail and get a saw myself. So I'll be bringing this with me this year, which I haven't done in the past. Then just some cord. You know, we might be in grizzly bear country depending on where we're at. So hang up my food, my gear, also to hang up some quarters if we need to. Always good to have some cord. Like I said, a couple extra blades for the Havilon and the Razorlight Outdoor Edge knife, and then a pen to sign my tag. And then I just have some Luco tape around that just in case I get some blisters. And then I'll have my tag with this as well. And that's most of the stuff that I will have in my kill kit. I almost forgot the game bags. I do bring game bags in my kill kit as well. These are the Caribou game bags. I'll bring 4 of them. I actually like to bring the mule deer size game bags for elk. Reason being, I like a smaller, narrow game bag. Seems to fit better in my pack and carry better. And most of the time I know I'm deboning the elk, so that's why I like a smaller game bag. A lot of the times I do recommend to people, they don't know what size game bag to get. It's easy just to get the elk game bag because you are going with elk, but I do think the elk ones are a little large for my liking. I like a nice tight fit in my pack. I don't like any meat splaying out the sides. So that's why I usually run a mule deer smaller game bag for elk. Plus I'm always boning them out. So that's kind of my theory behind game bags and what I recommend to people when choosing which game bag to go with. So that's all the stuff in my kill kit. Now we'll jump into my optics. So I have a couple optics here that I always like to bring with me on every hunt, depending if I bring them with me out in the field or if I just leave them in the truck. So one optic that I like to use from the truck are these Zeiss Conquest 15x56s. Great optics, see far distance, super clear, easy on the eyes. Probably won't bring these with me on the hunt, but always like to have them in the truck. Nice mounted window mount. You can see what's going on if you're just driving around looking for game. And then my spotting scope. This is the Razor HD 65. Depending on the area that we're going to, if I know it's going to be a glassable spot, a lot of terrain to look at, I will pack this with me. If I know I'm going into somewhere where it's a lot of dark timber, I won't bring the spotting scope with me. Elk are big animals. 65 works great for me. I don't think I need too much magnification on an elk. I usually can tell if it's going to be a decent one or not, plus I'm not super picky. And I like to cut down a little bit of weight with the 65 over the 85. So depending on the area, I usually will have this in my truck at all times, but depending on the area and the style of hunting we plan to do, that's when I'll decide if I'll bring it in my backpack or not. Now, binos I'll have on my chest. For elk hunting, I always run 10x42s. Most of the time elk hunting, you're handhelding a lot of your optics, so the 10x42s are gonna benefit that a little bit better, a little easier on the eyes. And these are the Vortex UHD 10x42s, love these things. Also have a plate on here just in case I do mount it on a tripod. I can do some glassing. 10x42s, I've tried the 12s, 10s, you go back and forth. I really like the field of view on 10s. I seem to pick up more game. So most of the time I've been leaning more towards the 10s this year than I have in the past. So those are what I'll be wearing on my chest. Then I just have those in the marsupial fully enclosed. This is a small, I'm pretty sure. Fits in there perfectly. Some wind checker on the side. Then marsupial rangefinder pouch, gotta bring. And then I did switch it up on my rangefinder. So this is the Vortex HD Razor 4000. This is their brand new rangefinder from Vortex. And the reason I like this is its versatility. It's great for archery hunting, plus it's also great for rifle hunting. So you can get those longer distances for when you need to use a rifle. It's got angle compensation, all that good stuff for archery. And that's the reason I went with this one. over other ones is just the versatility of it. I can use it multiple seasons throughout the year, and I can just use the same rangefinder. And I've liked it so far. I took that bear hunting, worked great for me. So that's kind of the optic setup that I'll use, and then the tripod. I know you guys are all going to be pissed that I'm talking about this tripod that we don't sell or you can't find anymore, but this is the 1204 SK from Saru. And then the VA5 head that I have on top that I've been running for years that we do have in the goHUNT gear shop. You can put this on multiple different tripods. It's a great head to have for glassing. So that's my tripod setup that I'll be using. And then all my optics all have Arca Swiss plates on it already. I make sure they're all on there before I go hunting, so I don't have to take plates off and change them. I just keep all my plates on my optics. And then I do get questions about my binos I carry in my chest. I have my plate on there at all times. I never have any issues going in and out. It doesn't bother me. So that's kind of how I do that setup. And that's basically all my optics that I'll be bringing with me. I guess I forgot to mention this in my sleeping system part. Sleeping bag that I bring. I've used this basically on every single hunt that I go on. This is the Stone Glacier Chill Coop 15 degree sleeping bag. Love this thing. Absolutely love this sleeping bag. By far the best sleeping bag that I've used. I've never gotten cold in this. Super roomy. If you don't like a tight mummy style sleeping bag, and you like a little space, you tend to roll around or you're a side sleeper, right here. This is what you need. Look at that space in the shoulder. This is the most, by far, the most comfortable sleeping bag that I've used, and I continue to use, and I use it year round. I use it from beginning of September all the way to my late season hunts in November, and I've never had any issues with it. Check it out. Then the backpack. So the backpack that I've kind of just been my go-to on every hunt. It's a little bloody from a caribou, and it stinks, but this is the Stone Glacier 6400 Sky Archer. Great backpack. It's one of those things, once you start using a backpack, you start feeling more comfortable with it. And it's been just my go-to that I use all the time. I usually don't run a top lid on it. I haven't been a big fan of top lids. They just seem to just be rolling around, flopping around. They're always in the way, so I just cut them out. I don't use top lids anymore, I decided. But this backpack is awesome. It's packed out a lot of animals. I've had zero issues. Super simple. Not too many pockets, not too many buckles. Just does what it needs to do. And that's the Stone Glacier 6400 that I'll be running. Plus it also has the spotting scope pouch on the side that's easy access, just this side zip. Another added benefit that I like, I can put my spotting scope somewhere in there. But yeah, I've been running this one for the last couple years on majority of all my hunts, so I just keep using it. So the weapon, like I said, this is an archery hunt, and I actually got a brand new bow. As you can see, it's not set up yet. I just got it. I'm gonna set it up and take it out. But this is the Mathews TRX 34. I've always been a fan of the longer axle bows. It seems to fit me better, has a better string angle, don't have to duck into it, and just super stable platform. And I've been really excited to try to go out and shoot this bow. I've heard a lot of good things about it. And the thing with this TRX 34, it's gonna be a good cross between a target bow and a hunting bow. I used to shoot the Halon X, which is one of my favorite bows from Mathews, and this is kind of similar, just the newer cams and all that good stuff with this TRX 34. So I'm really excited to try this bow out, get it set up here and do some shooting. And then quiver. So this is just the tight spot quiver. This is the 5 arrow. And then a thing that I've been using recently on all of my archery hunts is I actually have a hip quiver. So I never shoot with my quiver on my bow, so I don't like shooting it when I'm out hunting. So what this does is, this is a hip quiver from Total Peep, and that just goes around your belt, and then you can just strap this thing onto your hip. So you're walking around, you don't ever have to worry about what you're doing. with your hip quiver. So it just straps right onto your belt, and then you just strap that onto your quiver holder. And you can just walk around the woods with my quiver mounted on my hip, which I found to be pretty easy. Don't ever have to worry about, you know, shooting with my quiver on, and it's something that I just prefer and I've been using a lot, and it works great for me. So that's something I would check out if you're interested in a hip quiver. This is the Total Peep hip quiver. And the one thing you do need is you need 2 of these tight spot quiver mount, or you need 2 of these tight spot quiver mounts. So I usually keep 1 on my hip quiver, and then I will keep 1 on my bow, just in case I do want to throw it on the bow. But most part, I'll just carry around right on my hip. And then you can see, you can move this all sorts of different directions depending on where you want it when you're walking. So it's a cool little thing. Check it out. Give it a whirl. Try something new. And then arrow setup. So I have switched up my arrow. Reason being, I couldn't find any Pierce Platinums from Gold Tip. That's the arrow I've been shooting all the time. And I still do love that arrow. It's just got to hunting season, all those arrows were basically sold out everywhere. So I had to switch up the arrow. And I don't mind trying some different things. So this is the Victory Rip Spine to Line arrow. Awesome arrow. It's about, I've got this arrow to basically the same exact weight as my Gold Tip Pierce Platinum arrow. These come with an outsert. So this is a 50 grain outsert that you just glue right in there. It's all one piece. So you don't actually have 2 different pieces like you do with the Gold Tip Pierce Platinums. It's 1 piece outsert. And then I just run a 3-fletch blazers, nothing too crazy, with a goHUNT wrap. I've tried a lot of different fletchings, a lot of different sizes, and I think it's just really tough to beat these blazer fletchings. They're super forgiving and they fly great. So it's tough to beat and it just works for me. So those are the fletchings that I've used. And then as you can see, I actually do have the Gold Tip knocking sets into this Victory Rip arrow. So the Victory Rip arrow actually comes with a bigger knock, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I like these Accu knocks from Gold Tip. So you can actually buy these inserts that you put in here that you can fit the Accu knock, Gold Tip knock in there, and it works great. So that's my arrow setup that I'll be running this year, and then I'm also going to be shooting sever broadheads at the elk. I've shot the helix. The helix fly great. They shoot great. I've killed a lot of elk. I just want to try something new. Blood trails on those helix haven't been very great, but most of them, they all die within 100 yards. But I always like trying something new. The sever broadheads seem to work great. I've shot them. They fly like a field point. Don't have to worry about different flight. So that's I'll shoot the sever 1.5 this year at elk. And then kind of my miscellaneous archery stuff that I like to bring with me just in case it hits the fan. I always like to bring a sight tape, just in case my sight tape gets messed up and I have to put a new one on. I always like to bring a little bit of serving, a little bit of D-loop string, and then this is a bigger Allen wrench for my stabilizers. Your stabilizers can move, you bump it into something. It's always nice to make sure they're nice and tight. So this is the bigger Allen wrench, and then the Wise Choice release. This is actually my backup, but this is the release that I will be shooting, is the Carter Wise Choice. And that, oh, bear spray. We're gonna be in Montana. Who knows? We could see some grizzlies. Gotta have some bear spray. But for the most part, hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. This is gonna be my I guess I'd call an October elk hunt a mid-season elk hunt. You know, the temperatures are gonna be a little bit cooler. The weather's definitely gonna be a little bit different than what I'm used to on an elk hunt. And it will be a different style hunt. You know, we don't expect them to be rutting hard, but you know, it's definitely a good opportunity, and I think we'll have some pretty good luck out there. So this is all the gear that I'll be taking on that October archery hunt in Montana. A lot of this stuff, if not everything, is in the goHUNT gear shop. Check it out, get your gear. Hunting season's here. Make sure you have all your stuff. It's always good to just run through everything, and hell, this stuff helps me making sure that I have everything that I need on these type of hunts. But I hope you guys like this. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Comment below if you have any questions. I'd like to hear what you guys run or any suggestions that you guys would see that might help me on what I like to run. And good luck hunting this fall.